Welcome to Black Sheep. Hi there, I'm Nancy from Black Sheep Knitting. We have a lot of yarn to talk about today in our weekly podcast. Hope everybody's had a great week of knitting, and don't give up on knitting just because it's warm out. You can knit with summer yarns, and a lot of us sit in air conditioning, so it's fine. Or in this kind of weather, it's beautiful to go outside here in the Northeast, to sit outside and knit, listening to a book on tape or listening to music. I sat outside, I think it was yesterday. Gosh, was it just yesterday? And it's so beautiful. There aren't a lot of really icky bugs around to annoy you, and the sun isn't as strong as it gets, in June and July. So I recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Wanted to show you, the first thing I want to talk about is a couple things we have on sale. And I decided to put some winter yarns on sale. This is called Fairy Floss, and a lot of you have seen that, and people have been making shawls and scarves, but you can actually make sweaters with it. It is a 73% extra fine wool, baby alpaca and polyamide, and it is considered super bulky. But again, as I always say, don't go by bulky, chunky, whatever, because everybody's definitions of that are different. But it calls for a US 11 to 17. So, and it's 40% off. So this colorway is called Enchanted. It's really pretty colors. I love those. This is a really interesting one. I'm not going to show you all the colors. And by the by, if you want to buy this online, you're going to have to call the shop because we don't have it. I don't think we have it marked as 40% online off. And we'll see if we can do that. But if you do want something and you're not able to get to the shop, we're happy to take your order over the phone. This colorway is called Enchanted. Look at all the colors in that. It's really fun. And here's another one. Midsummer's Night. Ooh. That reminds me of a series that I watch called Midsummer Murders, if anybody's into that. It's a great series to watch while you're knitting, because it's not a lot happens quickly in that show. And this is just an aside, apropos of nothing. One of the great things about getting old, and I don't find there are a ton of things that are great, but I watch a lot of TV because I knit a lot, and a lot of the time I'm not watching, I'm knitting. But one of the nice things is that my memory's not that great anymore. So I can re-watch series that I've watched before. So my favorite one now is Silent Witness. And if you haven't watched that, it has a woman in it, Amelia Fox, who I always like her. She's British. And it's a British show about forensic pathologists. And I know that doesn't sound enticing, but I like the characters. Anyway, it's great because now I can watch, and there's a gazillion seasons, like Midsummer Murders, so you can watch them all over again, and you've forgotten them. But I digress. This one is called Pixie, for those of you who like pink and purple. And here's an earthy tone one called Woodlands. So if you're into the neutral earth tones, so that's just a few of the colors we have. And then, oh no, I forgot one. No, I already said that, Midsummer Nights. And then we have another yarn, and sometimes you can see it behind me, called Dash. And we have a ton of Dash in lots of different colors, and that is 50% off. So here is your chance to scarf up some winter yarns to start, in the fall. You can store them away for the winter, but it's a real bargain.
And I'll put some patterns up.
Maybe Robin will get some patterns going there. There's a great vest that was knit in that. There's a hat, and there's a wonderful sweater. There's a sweater, Robin made it. And I have I have somebody who still is making another one, I think. But so they're really fun, and they have this fun stripe in them. This one is called Alps. I don't know, why would you call that Alps?
They're all mountain ranges.
Oh, duh. Wake up, Nancy. She's right. This is Cantabrian.
Cantabrian.
Don't know where that is, but that's got blue and purple.
It's really pretty, actually.
It's a very pretty one. That knits up really pretty. And then this is called Andes, which is fun, kind of fun. So the backgrounds are beige and gray. Is there another background color?
There are lots more, but
okay. So you can look that up online. Came across, this was in our window, and I'd forgotten about this, but this is a fun shawl for the summer called Northampton Wrap. And again, on these things, and I was going to talk about today, where is gauge unimportant? Gauge is unimportant on things like shawls and wraps, and
I would say
less important. Well, it's up to the knitter what you want to use and how you like the yarn to come out. This is done in a fingering weight. And do I remember the name of the yarn? It's something we don't have, Husco cotton, but we have other cottons, and I'll show you those in a minute. But this is just a fun long wrap, and you can make it as long as you want. This one's quite long, but it's just simple yarn overs. These are yarn overs knit two together, and then changing in here, changing your knits and purls. So there's some rows where you do stockinette and then do a purl row, and so you get these ridges. But these I find are really lovely to wear in the summer. So I picked out some yarn that I thought would be fun in that. I love a linen wrap or a linen scarf or something in the summer. And once you knit them, they soften up, wash them, not knit them. You knit them and then you wash them, and they really soften up. So we picked out some colors of Zooey, and so you saw this in a fingering weight, the sample, but this is a DK weight, and you could do it in it says 3 to 5. It's pretty thin. So on a 3, 4, or 5, it'll still be kind of loose and lovely. And it might be a little bigger with this, so you don't have to make it quite as long if you choose not to. So this is Zooey, which is a cotton and linen blend, and each skein has 284 yards, so it's kind of generous. And this one's called Vibrant Soiree. These are really lovely summer colors. And this one is called Maracas Blush, if you're into the little bit more earthy. This one, which is coming apart, is called Palma Carnival. Oh, interesting. So it's got like a brick color, it's got blues, it's a little more subtle than the others that I showed you. And these are called Zooey Spray, these ones that are, it's not the plain Zooey. So it's a little different. This one is called Gold Coast. I love this. This is like a day at the beach for me. And look at the colors in that.
It's really similar.
It's very similar to this, but the difference is in this it's got some orangey, yellowy colors in it and some deep turquoise. But doesn't that remind you of the beach? I think that's a beautiful one. And by the way, this yarn is also really nice for tops. The Tulsa tee would be one that I'm thinking of offhand, or the plain yoke tee. Here's the Tulsa tee in the plain Zooey colors. And by the way, if you look up the Telstra tee, it doesn't have a pattern for these stripes. I striped it the way I chose. And that's the wonderful thing about knitting, is that you can make things the way you want them to look. So you could knit the same sweater multiple times in different ways. You can have big blocks of color, you can have different kinds of stripes. But I've said that before. And here's another lovely summer oceany colorway called Daffodil Sea. These are really pretty as you look at them, as I look at them. I'm showing some other yarns, cotton yarns that we got in, called Cotton Socks and Summer Cotton Sock Splash. So the splash are the multicolors, and I'll show those first. These would be great for summer tops, the same summer shawl, or
Of course, you could also do
that shawl would be great in that. And I'm showing something I think I showed already called Fabled Dress. And this is 6 stitches to the inch, which this is 24 to 28. So this has a wide range. So the splash, this is a soft, nice cotton. Of course, these are meant for socks, but I don't know, depends on whether you want to make socks with something so fun. I think I'd prefer to make a shawl or a top with this, or this little kid's dress that I showed. So this colorway is called Primary. These are not, well, I guess you could say those are primary colors, but they're not really. But there's a lot of them. That's a really pretty one. This one is called Bloom. That's pinks and blues, and it's gorgeous. I could see using that. You can make, you can make a summer shawl. You can just cast on a bunch of stitches with a bigger sized needle than the yarn calls for, and just knit, and you get these open stitches that are really nice to wear, wrap around you, and they knit up fast. So something like this would be, if you did it on like a size 7 needle, and just knit. So this is another one called Petunia. It's got pinks and yellows and purples and orange. Very pretty. There's something for everybody here. And this is called Herb. If you like greens, it's got hints of limey green and then some darker green and almost white. Very pretty. And the last in the splash is called Blues, appropriately enough. Very pretty. If you're a blue person, that would make a great top. I would love that. Or a cardigan. That'd be fun. And then I just am showing I think there are a few other solids, but I'm just going to show these two. This is Soft Lilac. A beautiful pink. I'm starting to like pinks these days, so I could see making something out of that. And then, of course, who doesn't love navy blue? And this is appropriately called Navy. Navy with a navy blue top with a pair of white pants is my idea of summer. So I like that a lot. Wanted to show you my progression, where I've gone and what I've done with my plain yoke tee. And as you may recall, that I had my counts wrong on my yoke and had to tear it all out. Nothing new for Nancy. But, so what I've done, pattern calls for just the rolled edge on the sleeves and on the bottom. But I don't love a rolled edge on the bottom because I feel like when you sit down, it can roll up and it never looks that great. So what I chose to do is to do a ribbing and then a rolled edge. And I remembered that from I had on that day when I decided, I had on the Sabai top. If anybody remembers that, it's a sleeveless top, and I did it in a black. I did it in modern cotton. But anyway, the bottom ends like this, and so it's the neckline is like that. So I knit in a 2x2 rib for about 6 rows, for about an inch. I won't say how many rows. And then I did change to stockinette. Oh, plus I did the ribbing on a smaller needle. I think I'm on a 7. I might have gone down to a 5 or a 6. And then I just did stockinette and bound off. And so the stockinette rolls up and gives this kind of a nice edge. So I'm happy with it. I'm going to make my sleeves. I'm on the first sleeve, and I'm hoping to make it about here, I think. And then I will just do a plain rolled edge. So I'll just go down the needle size and just do it as the. This has been a fun knit, and one of the reasons I like it is because I love the yarn. And I want to show you what Robin is doing with it. She has the same colorway, and I think this is called Whisper White. And she's doing the Corin cardigan. And I have one that our knitter made for us last year. I have it in modern cotton, but I love this, and I love wearing it. It's a really, and if you pick out a fun button on it, it's just nice. So Robin's having a good time with it, and she's made.
It's so fast.
It's really fast. Well, because you're knitting 2 together a lot. So you're doing half the stitches. Anyway, it's a thought, and I thought I'd bring over some choices that would be good for either one of these pieces. And I know I've shown these before, but it's such a nice yarn, it bears repeating. And it's cotton, bamboo, merino, and 8% yak. So this color I think is called Rodeo, which I like this one. It's a taupe, really. And this one is Platinum, for those of you who like gray. So these are just 2 nice neutrals, I think. Wouldn't it be nice striped? In a striped sweater? Not in the Corin, obviously, but you could stripe the plain yoke tee. And by the way, the plain yoke tee, people have had some questions about it, and I don't have it here, but the plain yoke tee, there's a plain yoke tee 22 and a plain yoke tee 20. So people have said, well, what do those numbers mean? Well, no. It's in my bag, I think, Robin. What those are referring to are is the gauge of the yarn. So what the designer has done, yep, that's it. So on this one, it's plain yoke T20. The plain yoke T20 refers to, you can knit this in a yarn that has a 20 stitch gauge, which means 5 stitches per inch or 20 stitches over 4 inches. There is also a plain yoke T22, and that refers again to 22 stitches over 4 inches or 5.5 stitches to the inch. More commonly, the 20 would be called a worsted and the 22 would be called a DK. So just be mindful of that. So the iris is what I would call a worsted, 5 to the inch. This is called Blush, and I love this because it's not a solid pink, and it has kind of tones, I don't know, brown in it, and I think that's the yak that's in this.
It's really pretty.
And I think, and it's in this one as well. It's got some of that, so I think that's the yak, and yak is a very soft fiber. This one is called Fanciful. Pretty purple. There is a blue, but I think I ran out of it. I ordered more. And this is Sunset, which I think this is a stunning color. So I think that may be what I have to talk about, except that this week we have, starting on Saturday, a new knit-along. And we're doing patterns from Natasha Hornby, who is one of my favorite designers. And I'm going to show you I have just 2 samples in the shop, but anytime she shows something, I love it. And this one I know you've seen before is called Joni. And it's knit in the Noro Sonata. It's a sport weight. And the Sonata is cotton and a few other things I forget, but it's a nice summer weight. This was a simple little tee that you can wear with not too difficult. This is a simple lace pattern. I think, of course, I tore it out once or twice. The other thing that we have in the shop that I just adore, this shawl, is called, and I know you all have seen this, it's called Artis. And we made it with a sport weight yarn. I think we used a Noro yarn that has, a Rowan yarn that has a little bit of, it's Rowan Baby Cash Soft. We only have a little bit left in the store, but we have it.
In the North Bay.
Be really pretty in the North Bay fibers, and we also have other Ella Ray Cashmerino, and we also have Swango, these would all be beautiful in this. But isn't that pretty? I think that's really pretty.
Yes.
So anyway, you should look, and maybe Robin will post some other patterns of hers. So we have a lot of fun in these knit-alongs on the weekends. We do them there's one on Saturday. We also have a sit and knit on Friday from 3 to 5, and that's become like a really nice group of people. They'll be in again tomorrow, I'm sure. And on Saturday, we've had a couple people who've said, this is just a really nice thing to do on a Saturday afternoon, to come for 2 hours, sit with friends, and have some designated time for your knitting. So you can come on Saturday. We're having a knit along. You do not have to be knitting a Natasha Hornby pattern. She has a new shawl out that Giovanna just finished, and it's called Zyla. And Giovanna finished hers. It's beautiful. So she'll be here on Saturday afternoon, and she's offered to help people out if they need help. We can help you picking a Natasha Hornby pattern. She has a great shawl. There's a blue and white one, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's got tassels on it. And it's mosaic, has a lot of mosaic knitting in it. She has another top that I was thinking of doing this summer. I think it's called Nyla, and it's similar to this, but a little bit different. So, come and join us. We love having people come and knit. And if you can't come Saturday, come on Friday afternoon. We'd love to have you. And we can offer, depending on how busy the shop is, we can offer help to you. I don't know what else. We don't have any workshops coming up right away. But take this opportunity to knit with, we have a lot of cotton and cotton blends in the store. So they're always great to knit with in the summer, and you don't have to feel like you're sitting with heavy wool on you. I think that's all for today. I hope you have a great week of knitting, and thank you so much for tuning in, watching us. We have some loyal followers, which I so appreciate when they tell me that they've been watching this every week, and also for your comments. So if you have ideas of things that you'd like me to talk about, that would be great. Questions. There were a couple questions from last week that I was not able to answer. One of which was, there was yarn behind me, and we couldn't figure out which. Somebody saw the yarn behind my head and kind of identified it, but honestly, if you want to try again this week and be a little more specific, we could try to identify it for you. And we had some other questions, but I wasn't sure. Well, let me take a look and see if there is um, anything, there were comments on the backward loop cast on that I showed, and people like that. Um, so this woman wished she had a shop near her in London. There is a yarn shop called Loop in Islington. I don't know if that's anywhere near where you live in London, but it's a charming little shop. I've been there, and I want to say there's some others in London. Maybe if I look them up, I'll mention them maybe the next time. Um, and someone had a question about a make one left.
Lift one, I think.
Oh, make one a lift one.
The lifted one increase.
Lifted one increase. Yes. Oh, there is a lifted increase on the plain yoke tee, which I did not do. True confessions. I didn't like the way it kind of, I saw it on other people's samples that they were knitting, and they were not happy with how it looked. Kind of stuck out. So I just did a make one left. And if it said if you use a make one left, instead you need to add an extra knit stitch to the repeat. I don't know that that's true. Which I didn't do, and it was fine. I don't, because a lifted increase, it's still an increase, whatever you do. You're increasing by one, so you don't need to add anything else.
Okay.
That may be all I have to say for today. Get out if you're in the Northeast, where we're in Boston, outside of Boston. It's gorgeous here, so get out, take a walk, enjoy the weather, and I hope it's nice where you live. If it isn't, it will be at some point. So take care, and please join us again next week, although we may not podcast next week.
No, I'm going to be home.
Oh, okay, so Robin thought she might be out of town, but she'll be.
Surprise tutorial with Giovanna.
Oh, she's hoping for a surprise tutorial with Giovanna. Wouldn't that be nice? Because she is amazing. So, happy knitting and crocheting, and bye.